Here at the Wilds, we are home to many iconic species such as rhinos, giraffe, cheetahs, and that's kind of what people tend to think of when they think of the Wilds. But we also get to be home to species that are not as well known and just as important to protect. Banteng are one of those species. So banteng are wild cattle that are native to Southeast Asia. They inhabit the grassland and forest areas of Southeast Asia, and most people don't realize that wild cattle exist. We oftentimes just think about domestic cows when we think about cows, but these guys are in the bovid family, which encapsulates all of the cattle. They are beautiful animals. The males tend to be bigger horns. They are darker in coloration, so you typically see kind of a dark chocolate to black coloration on the bulls, and then females are going to be this really beautiful red color. They all have really nice white markings on them. They've got white socks, white butts, which are my favorite. It looks like they sat in paint. And then they have a little white marking above their lip that looks like a milk mustache. So banteng are incredibly important to their ecosystem, and they actually inhabit more than one ecosystem, right? They're a part of the grasslands and the forested regions. So the fact that they are grazing and foraging in those areas, they're playing a role in seed dispersal, they're impacting a large variety of plant life in both ecosystems. And that means if you lose them, you're going to lose that impact that they have, that important role that they play, and that can potentially have a negative impact on other species of plant life and even other wildlife as well. So banteng are considered to be endangered. They have declining numbers in the wild due to primarily deforestation. A lot of that is due to the palm oil industry, and then you also have poaching, and a really big impact on them is going to be crossbreeding with domestic cattle. A lot of the domestic cattle are kind of free roaming in those areas, and they have similar enough genetics that they will crossbreed, and then that's going to eliminate some of your wild genetics within the banteng.
The Wilds has been involved in banteng conservation since 1999 when the first animal set foot on our ground. They also are very important to have around because nowadays we're only one of 4 AZA institutions that still house them and do work with them. Usually our banteng herd hovers right around 10 to 8 animals at any given time, with 1 male to about 5 to 8 females. But we do have room to grow up to about 15 or so. We leave that room for having calves each year. Since 2017, I've been a North American regional stubbook keeper for the banteng. Just pretty much means that I help police the genetics and keep track of the animals in North America. Why the banteng stubbook keeper role is so important is because there's a very limited amount of genetics that came into the country years ago, and we haven't had any new genetics come in for a couple decades. So we have to be really careful to keep the genes diverse as possible as we move forward breeding this population. Some of the conservation successes we've had here with our group at the Wilds is we've had 3 calves born through artificial insemination, and then we've had all the rest of our animals been born out of natural breeding. We've also tried to hone techniques in how to cycle females with different reproductive physiologists through the years. So we've done a lot of breeding behavior and just advancing the science in this type of cattle species. So we've worked a lot with North American facilities on how we keep banteng, how we breed banteng, but our impact doesn't stop there. We collaborate with people in Indonesia and Europe with different techniques, different ways of doing things with them, and it's all about the animals. We're just looking for a better way to take care of these animals, to have a better life. Happier animals breed better, they live better, so it's just a good collaboration. So the main reason that it's so important that the Wilds keeps working with banteng is the insurance or the security population that we'll have here for future generations. But it's also the way that we are advancing the science of how we take care of them, the husbandry and the breeding and reproductive side of it. And it's a cool species in general. I mean, a lot of times I think until people come to the Wilds, it's one of them species that they don't even know exist.
The really cool thing about getting to have banteng here at the Wilds, I find it to be a really unique opportunity to promote this species. Because if you think about kind of the traditional zoo setting, you walk by a habitat with banteng in there, most people are going to say, oh, those are just cows, right? So let's go find something maybe a little more exciting. And here, you guys are stuck with us. You have to hear about the cows. Every single person that goes through our facility is being guided by someone. So that means that we get to talk to everybody that comes through here about these animals and really make that connection. We get to see, you know, I've seen kids come on tours and leave with banteng being their favorite species, and we have rhinos here. So that's a really exciting thing to get to have that kind of impact and to see that happen for animals that to most people are just cows.